Regular meeting, the Board of Education, the Perry Local School District is called to order at 5:57 PM in the Tarbuck Conference Room. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Foley,
Here.
Mr. Leidig.
Here.
Mr. Trusker.
Here.
Mr. Welch.
Here.
And Mr. Roberts.
Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22, G1, I hereby move the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of considering the compassion of a public employee or official. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Leidig.
Yes.
Mr. Trusker.
Yes.
Mr. Welch. Yes. Mrs. Foley.
Yes. Are we going to go in Jack's office for a minute? We're going to step out in Jack's office.
I added another folder for you.
I see that.
To
You just
sign.
keep adding stuff for me.
6:10.
Thanks. All right. Committee reports?
We can do-
Roll call.
Roll call.
Sorry.
Mr. Trusker.
Yes.
Mr. Welch. Yes. Mrs. Foley.
Yes.
Mr. Leidig.
Yes.
Anybody have committee reports? No? Okay, administrative update, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. Just a few things again. I just want to once again express our appreciation for all the work of our teachers and staff. We had ODE and Knowledge Works come in and visit some of our innovative programs throughout the district and received outstanding feedback and compliments. And again, that's just a tribute to our wonderful teaching staff and our administration and leadership. And if you haven't had a chance to see the video, Mr. Kellogg was able to put together. It's excellent, and I think it does a nice service to the fine work that's happening in the district. So we appreciate that very much. And again, I want to thank everyone who participated in our communication surveys. We had a very good response, and we did meet with the impact group, who was the neutral facilitator of those surveys, and we will be reviewing those results in our January 17th special work session meeting that we're having, and also begin the rollout and recommendations of some of the communication plan pieces that we want to put together for next school year and beyond. And so we look forward to that work as we go forward. We do need to talk a little bit about legislatively, the lame duck, which seems to have lasted forever, will be coming to an end after these holidays. And there are some things to watch down in Columbus legislatively. There was an appropriation that happened last week, funding to be used for the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. The language allows for $100,000 per school building to eligible public school districts and chartered non-publics for the enhancement of security and safety enhancements. So we'll continue to look for that and see if that's something that we're eligible for and to apply. They also appropriated somewhere in the area of $1.75 billion in federal elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund, or those ESSER dollars. So as we anticipated, where we received some assistance in that through ESSER funds, it looks like those are going to continue in the near future. And so that's good news for everyone. And then as before, we've been watching SB 178, which is a bill that talks about changing the role and function of the State Board of Education, and then moving some of those powers into the governor's office and those things. That was something that was a pretty high priority for some Senate leadership, that after sitting in the House for a week was not passed on a close vote. And so the issue is not dead by any means. And so there will be some more information coming out and some more efforts to try to work out something in some bill down the road as far as the role of the State Board of Education. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then obviously in January, the governor will release his version of the biennial budget, which we've already been down in Columbus and speaking to some folks about Perry's position in that. And so some important things ahead in the new year. With that, again, I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe holiday break and winter break. Our athletics are in full swing, and so if you want to get out and support any of our teams, they'll not always in the state of Ohio, but they will be in action, and we look forward and wish them luck as they continue their seasons. And that concludes my administrative update. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Okay. And then we do have someone signed up for public participation. If you want to stand up, state your name and your address, and then feel free to talk with the board.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dina Severino. I live at 940 Tradewinds Cove and Painesville. I'm here today regarding the district's decision on our Flippa House program. The biggest question I have, and I still have not been able to receive an answer on, is how did we get to this point? About a week ago, it was brought to my attention that my former home in Perry had a bid put on it at auction by the district for our Flippa House program. Key decision makers and leaders of this planning team were fully aware they were pursuing the former home of Perry students and a Perry employee, yet they choose to move forward and bid on this home. I seek explanation and understanding of how members of the Flippa House planning team would not only disrespect the memory of my deceased husband, but to go as far as to capitalize on his death and our tremendous loss. Luke received the news of his diagnosis in our home, and our family had to endure his physical and mental deterioration in there. My youngest daughter, Ava, was only 9 years old at the time, and I have grave concern for her, having to revisit the most challenging part of her young life as her friends and classmates literally got our old home in front of her. Other homes within Perry and surrounding communities were and are available for purchase within a similar price range. At a meeting with Drs. Thompson and Melchesky, I provided them with a document identifying many of these homes. While I do not have access to all the requirements of the program, this shows there was and will be other homes they could be considered without inflicting the emotional and mental trauma that the district will be using my former home. The optics of this tentative acquisition do not adhere to or uphold the key of our district cultural playbook opening statement, which is everyone matters. More specifically, this casts our Flippa House program an incredibly negative light, which I find frustrating myself because the program is both popular with students and it provides them with tremendous opportunities to learn vital life skills. My request is that you do not approve the bid on the Flippa home and find somewhere else.
Dr. Thompson, consent agenda. Sorry, do I have a motion? Sorry.
Second.
Consent agenda. Well, there's A through E. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kravser,
Yes.
Mr. Welch. Yes. Mrs. Foley.
Yes.
Mr. Lady.
Yes.
Dr. Thompson, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Foley. Under personnel acceptance of resignation, the board is asked to accept the resignation from the employees noted as recommended by the local superintendent. Under B, personnel approval employment curriculum hours, the board is asked to approve the employment of the individuals listed to complete the 2022-23 curriculum work at the rate of pay and for the maximum number of hours worked beyond the contractual day indicated as recommended by the local superintendent and assistant superintendent. Under C, personnel approval employment classified, the board is asked to approve the employment of the individual listed for the position indicated pending successful completion of required employment paperwork, certification training, and background check as recommended by the local superintendent. B, approval appointment 21st century CCLC substitutes. The board is asked to approve the employment of individuals listed for 21st century grant substitute positions and rate of pay indicated as recommended by principals, assistant superintendent, and local superintendent. Funds for these positions will be paid out of federal grant funds awarded to the district as indicated and verified through a timesheet for the dates indicated below. E, personnel approval appointment 22-23 athletic supplemental. The board is asked to approve the employment of the individuals listed for the 2022-23 athletic supplemental position and rate of pay indicated, pending successful completion of required employment paperwork, certification training, and background check as recommended by the local superintendent and athletic director. Under F, personnel approval appointment athletic volunteer. The board is asked to approve the individual listed as a volunteer for the 22-23 sport noted, pending successful completion of background check and certification as recommended by the local superintendent and athletic director. G, personnel approval appointment substitutes. The board is asked to approve the individuals noted for the substitute position listed as recommended by the local superintendent and assistant superintendent. And H, we have under personnel, we have a corrective action. The board is asked to approve the corrective action noted as recommended by the local superintendent and assistant superintendent. This concludes my superintendent's report.
A motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion session? Roll call, please.
Mr. Welch,
Yes.
Mrs. Foley,
Yes.
Mr. Leidig,
Yes.
Mrs. Truster.
Yes.
Mr. Gallant.
Thank you, Mrs. Foley. The first item I have is the board is asked to approve the financial report from November 2022 as recommended by the chief financial officer. And the B, contracts and agreements. The board is asked to approve the 22-23 Educational Service Center of the Western Reserve Service Agreement Addendum to add the sale program as recommended by the chief financial officer and director of special education. Currently, there's one special education student enrolled, scheduled to enroll in sale program beginning of the January 23. The total single cost for the program for the remainder of the 22-23 school will not exceed $26,000. This will be paid monthly for the services. Item C, authorization of full purchase. The board is asked to authorize the chief financial officer and board president to execute the purchase of the home located at 3576 Main Street, Barry, Ohio for $138,000 plus required closing costs as recommended by the chief financial officer.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Approve.
Second.
Roll call or discussion, sorry.
I have questions. The home purchase, how many homes have we looked at and when did we start looking at this?
We started looking at homes prior to the sale of the house on Utah Court, probably in the spring of 22. I can't really give you the number. There was any house that popped up. We were working with a real estate agent. We were working with Ms. Porcello, Mr. Zuzzi, Dr. Malcheski, and then his homes would pop up where some people would give us leads on homes. We would look into the parameters being the cost, the renovation cost, the ability for our student skill set, and everything else, and proximity to school. So can you give a number?
I would say between 5 and 6 houses were visited over the summer and into the fall.
And how many have we put offers on or got into a bidding process with?
There was one on Maple Street that we had considered a certain number, but didn't end up
But
putting up.
the renovation
Right
costs
house.
were way too much. That
Exceeded our budget.
The other 3 or 4 that we were in weren't the right fit for a variety of reasons.
we look at, again,
Mainly
the skill sets, and so if our students have the ability to do the work, or whether they be contracted, always adds costs and everything else, so that's a lot of factors involved.
We've been looking for over 6 months, then safe to say.
Sure.
So at this point in the process, how much money of the districts has been invested into the current purchase and what is,
Invested in this one, we were required at the bid to put a $7,000 down payment down. And then we have the upcoming closing.
Cost of time,
Yeah.
can't even
Don't
put a
quantify
dollar on that.
Nope.
For the last 6 months. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Foley,
Yes.
Mr. Leidig,
Yes.
Mrs. Truster.
can I say something first?
Sure.
Regrettably, in this position, we have to put our personal feelings aside and do what's best for the educational value of the majority of the students. So it's a difficult decision, but and regrettably, in this case, it's going to cause hurt to someone else. And I feel for that, and I apologize for that, but I do have to vote yes also.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Any unfinished business? New business. Correspondence and announcements. Upcoming events and meetings. The 2023 organizational meeting is scheduled for 5:45 on Tuesday, January 3rd. And will be immediately followed by the work session in the Tarbuck Center Conference Room. There will be a Board of Education work session retreat on Tuesday, January 17th at 5:45 in the Tarbuck Center Conference Room. Do we have any other? Gina? No? Just want to wish everyone a happy holiday and enjoy some time off if you have it and a break. And motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Levick?
Yes.
Mrs. Chubster?
Yes.
Mr. Welch? Yes. Mrs. Foley?
Yes.